G'day, my name's Pete Garratt. We're dairy farming on southeast Queensland, milking 300 Holstein cows annually on a year-round calving pattern, supplying fresh milk to Norco. We've got a fair bit of history here on this farm. I'm the fourth generation, and we actually celebrate our centenary 100 years next year from when our family moved here. My great-grandfather brought the family from England to Australia for opportunities for the family. He couldn't see too many opportunities, for his boys in England where they were, and Australia was the new and exciting frontier back in those days, and we've been here ever since. When the family came to the farm, they kind of had a few things. There was some pigs, and dairy, but dairy was kind of the primary business, and the pigs kind of fed off the whey when they were making cream and that sort of thing. But over the years, the dairy's been the thing that sustained us and provided that stable, business to run from, yeah. Currently, my wife Jess and myself are in partnership with my parents, and I've got 3 children. My eldest Malachi is grade 12 this year, and then my next 2 kids are still, one in primary school and one in kindy. So we've got a few years in front of us yet, but one of my focuses and one of my kind of things that I'm passionate about is positioning the business now so that in that 10 years time when my children come through and have the opportunity to make a decision for their career for the future, is that I'm well positioned to provide an opportunity for them to come home and be part of the family business. Yeah, all 3 of my kids are pretty keen with the outdoors. My little girl's only in kindy, and she just loves running around and getting out and helping me. The boys certainly, are much the same. So, we'll let them make their own choices. But they've certainly, they've all got an interest in the cows and in the land and the machinery and that sort of thing. So yeah, it will be no greater pleasure that as a dad, but also as a farmer and a caretaker of the land for all these years, would be to see another generation come home and share the passion that we share and continue the legacy on, yeah. In a small community where you're small business, it's very important that we do business locally and we've got great support. And that's so critical for me running my business, is that, I can pick up the phone and straight away we've got relationship with those people that we deal with, and being able to know that I've got support any time of the day, potentially when I need it, is pretty critical to running a business like this, where we are 365 every day of the year, every day of the week. We've got to do what we do, and knowing that we've got suppliers that'll back us up when we need it, it's really important. And certainly, our local community are totally behind, buying our Norco product. Most people I speak to are very loyal Norco customers, and we just think that's just such a great thing to be able to, that they know that they can support us directly through buying our co-op, produced Norco milk. I've been home full-time farming for 26 years now, so basically straight out of school I came home, and I guess where we are now is very different to what I would have ever dreamt of 26 years ago. But I kind of always had a vision for our business and for the way we manage our animals, that there were lots of places that we can be better, and we're always looking for that next step for how can we be better, how can we be more efficient, how can we, look after our cows better, how can we make their environment better for them, and, support them better, and in turn that builds my resilience in my business and allows me to handle, weather extremes of dry and wet and hot and cold, and all those things are what we're trying to streamline or also manage the risk of those events. And what we're able to do now with the tech that we've got is just unbelievable. I would never have thought, when I started my career, that we'd be able to actually do this stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. Stewarding our natural resources has always been very important to our family. Yeah, so my grandfather, he sort of pioneered, or I wouldn't say pioneered, but certainly was an early adopter of installing contour banks across all of our farming land for soil retention, so we don't lose soil in erosion from heavy rain events. That's then sort of moved on in the 90s from traditional methods of ploughing paddocks and planting crops through to a full zero-till system now, where we basically don't disturb the soil. We leave all of the residue of the last crop on the paddock, which helps to hold the soil together, captures more rainfall, gets it into the ground, and then we just direct drill straight into that for our cropping program. And that's a very important part of providing the fodder that we need to provide the feed base that we need to milk 300 odd cows a year. So, now we're probably gone, in more recent times into, being able to really capture our nutrient waste that we have from the cows, from their manure and that sort of thing, and being able to get that back onto our paddocks. So we kind of have a good nutrient cycle here, where really the only nutrient that we export from the farm is our milk that we sell, and then we pretty much capture all the rest of the nutrient. We compost it back down, we put it back on paddocks, and we grow the next crop on it. Yeah, we feed our cows a total mixed ration right through summer, where the cows are basically fed in this facility here, whereby we bring everything that the cow needs in a balanced diet and we put it in front of them. So it's kind of like being at a resort for a cow, where they've got their bedding behind them, they've got a buffet in the front, and they've got the drinks bar, their water troughs in between, provide shade and some cooling with fans for heat management through summertime. So really this whole system is about providing the best opportunity for the cow, managing those risks of those weather extremes, and just giving that cow the best access she can to do what she does best, and that's eat feed and lie down and relax and make milk. So that also then brings us around to the challenge of keeping that feed accessible to the cow at all times. So as the feed's placed in front of the cow on a daily basis, when they consume that feed, the access to the feed gets further away, and I've always had an issue with being able to keep that feed up accessible to the cow without the cow having to strain through and reach through and try to get that next mouthful. As that feed eats away, that gets tougher. So the robot has really brought a great solution for that problem, in that every 4 hours or 3 hours, whatever the schedule is, it runs down there and just keeps that feed up to the cow. So I first actually came across the Ranger when I was in America last year over at the World Dairy Expo, and I actually connected there, or spoke with the manufacturer, and we kind of went through the machine, and it's like, yep, this robot's actually going to work. It can handle my design of and exposure to weather and all those things it can handle. I'd done enough research on other machines that I knew that this one was going to do the job. And then it was really like, well, you're from Canada, we're in America, I'm from Australia. The most critical thing is, do you have a dealer in Australia? And she's like, oh, we've got Dom. And I'm like, well, that just couldn't be any easier. Dom's just down the road. And behind the scenes, they were talking, and Dom turned up here with already a design drawn up of my layout. And so the process of, sort of due diligence and procurement and going ahead with the machine was all really good. And then, right through from there, from that point through to shipping was shipping's just shipping, you know. We had Christmas and all that stuff and cyclones and all that sort of wild weather that it delayed things a little bit, but yeah, that's all up to the shipping gods really. But no, I'm really happy with the whole process of how it all went down, and you know, the follow up and communication with the boys at Dom's been good. So I don't have to worry anymore about, you know, particularly at night time, when getting a good night's rest is far more important to me than getting out and manually pushing up feed. The robot's out there doing the job for me. So, you know, it'll just run down there every time it's on schedule, keeps that feed up, and then basically the cow, when she comes out and she wants to have a feed, she'll always know that the feed is where it should be, right in front of her, and it's not too far away. This facility is all designed around cows and cow comfort and providing what a cow needs. She needs fresh feed, she needs water, clean, cool water, and she needs somewhere comfortable to lie down. So basically, we've got compost bedding in the shed here, just behind the cows. So every day, when the cows go in the dairy to get milked, we go in and we make their bed. So we run a toolbar through there, we turn that compost over, so any fresh manure that's been dropped on the top gets incorporated. We strategically add wood chip in there as we need to, just to keep that compost really working nicely. And so every day, twice a day, we go in, we turn that bedding over, it fluffs it up, makes it nice and soft. And cows, they're kind of like the princess and the pea. They like to lay down on a nice, soft mattress. They don't want to have any rocks in it or anything like that. Because, you know, I guarantee you, if that bedding wasn't nice for them, they'll go and lay down in the slop outside or where I don't want them to lie, they'll be lying in there. So it's about us providing an alternative, well, yeah, a good place for them to lie down that not only supports their comfort, but also provides a clean environment for them to lay on, which is just great for welfare, minimises mastitis infection, and just basically keeps cows clean. The concept for installing the robot's pretty simple. Basically, it's just you need a charging bay, and it needs to be able to follow a magnetic strip and turn around and come back. And basically, you know, from that we got given some parameters about what we needed, and we set about doing our concrete and got all the base work done. And then the contractor just turned up on install day and did the saw cut. And the guys from Dom, they really did all the hard work. They put all the magnets in and did all the install. And yeah, like it was a pretty easy process really. Once we knew that design and what parameters we needed, and we just got the concrete right, yeah, it's pretty simple. The feed pad's 160 metres long from start to finish. So it's pretty much sort of 16 minutes to get down the other end, and then a bit of time to turn around and get back. So we're looking at about between 33 and 35 minutes to do a run. And when it comes back, it just puts itself back on the charger, it docks there, pulls up, and it's just straight back on charge again. So yeah, it was very satisfying to see it, you know, on the magnetic strip and just doing its thing. Like, it's like, you know, like that's success for me. That was just getting that solution to that problem, and then actually seeing it go to work, and then knowing that it just goes about its job and I don't have to worry about it. Like, that's really good for me, because it just takes one extra thing off the schedule for either me or my employees. We don't have to worry about going up there and doing it manually anymore. Yeah, so it's been really successful. Operationally, now that we've got the robot, we can actually go ahead and mix feed, like a whole day's worth of feed, 24 hours worth of feed, and place it on the feed pad in one go, where we couldn't do that before because our little manual scraper that we had fabbed up out of a bit of scrap steel couldn't handle pushing that much feed up. So now we've got the robot, we can actually put that much feed down there, and then that feed mixer is then free to go and do another mix for another group of cows. It allows me and my staff to just carry on with our daily routine or all the other jobs we've got to achieve during the day without having to worry about being back here, you know, numerous times a day to manually push the feed up. The proximity of that feed to cows, I believe we'll get a yield increase from that. So it's been It's been difficult to measure because at the same time we've got a lot of other factors going on environmentally and different cows in and out, and so it's probably been a little difficult to actually pinpoint and, you know, a line in the sand where you can say, you know, before the pusher and after the pusher as far as yield goes. But I think overall cows are eating slightly more than what they were, and that'll either translate, it goes on the two places, it goes into milk or it goes into body condition. So we'll probably potentially have like those younger animals that are, you know, less dominant, probably struggle to get up there and get a feed when it's all there. Those ones that can come up later on, there's always going to be feed there for them. So look, there's lots of ways where I think we can like get a return, you know, back from the investment. And yeah, it's probably going to be hard to measure exactly, but, you know, we're always measuring, you know, our yields in the dairy and looking at our productivity. So it'll be interesting to see a pattern over time. The Ranger has absolutely done what we wanted it to do. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. So yeah, I'd thoroughly recommend, if you're in the market for a feed pusher, check it out and talk to the guys at Dom.